it's me again. Thanks for coming back. Listen, last time I spoke to you was in my first video in which I said that I was going to speak about France. Now here I am back, and now I'm going to tell you precisely what I would like to talk to you about. I want to say that France, before anyone says, oh my goodness, someone who hates France has the nerve to talk about France. No, I don't hate France. I recognize that it's the 15th power in the world, the number 15 worldwide power, and I also recognize that it's a wonderful country. I mean, there are wonderful things going on here, but I want to talk about specific things. I think things that concern Americans who are interested in what's going on in Europe, and that's that. I mean, I'm not going to talk about how France is a stinky, no good country. What I'm going to say is that France is a terribly, terribly racist country. Now, I, for one, deeply loved France. I was a Francophile. I studied France. I took degrees in the language. I studied the history, and I studied the culture. So what does that mean? That means that someone who is terribly pro-France and who is well disposed to indulge every possible favorable thought finally has to come to the realization that France is a terribly, terribly racist country with a lot of injustice going on, and I want to make you aware of it. Now, let's go on to racism. Now, what is racism? Racism is discrimination, any ism. Discrimination based on. Discrimination based on sex is sexism. Discrimination based on race is racism. And what is that? How does that manifest? Well, as Americans, we're used to the workings of racism because we know that our country has a long history based in racist activity. I mean, we had slavery, and then we had the denial of civil rights in the South, and on and on. We have housing injustice, we have redlining, we have all sorts of forms of racism. So how is racism manifesting in France? Here, what goes on is so diverse that I'm going to first just talk about the most blatant forms. First of all, when you come to France, you're going to get the impression, when you first come to France, you're going to get the impression that you have stepped back in time. France operates with the same values and behavior patterns as we used to have in 1950s. What that means is that it's a joke to be black, and so people laugh at black people, and you'll see images of black people in magazines and on television and in comic books and drawn up in different places with giant red lips and black skin and giant white googly eyes. They think that's funny. We as Americans, we've moved beyond that. We think that's vulgar to laugh at the way a human being is. We don't laugh at the way a lion is, a tiger is, a cat is, a dog, any kind of animal. We accept enormous diversity that is in the natural kingdom, whether it's a human being with any type of physical phenotypical difference, meaning different, millions of different, frankly, skin colors, different formation of noses and mouths and all sorts of things. But French people, in the extreme difference of Americans, think that being black is something that you laugh at, so that, you know, whereas we have discarded images of Aunt Jemima and Uncle Tom, and we no longer have black-skinned mammies and so forth. Whites here in France still do that. Making jokes about being black, saying things like, oh, do you see things all black? You know, if you have a black person, for instance, invited on a television show, which is extremely rare, so, we were cut. I cut because I'm in, traffic is passing. But when you see black people, do you think it's funny that, you know, they are black and it's dark night outside? It's black outside and you're a black person. French people think that's funny. So, as a black person,